Hey, what's going on, guys? Antoine here. I'm back again for another video, and this time I wanted to talk to you guys about a music video that I shot semi-recently, and I want to talk about it because it was honestly one of the most stressful experiences I've ever had in my entire life. The main reason being that I only had 24 hours to shoot it from start to finish. So in this video, I wanted to kind of walk back through my experience with that. Hopefully I can give you guys some tips on how you can avoid some of the pit traps that I fell into, as well as kind of give a breakdown of the music video itself, some of my thoughts and what was going on from scene to scene. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so the craziest thing again is that I only had a day to shoot the entire thing, and I've made one music video before. Actually, it was the very first music video I shot. It's on the channel here. That experience was a lot smoother for a number of reasons, mainly the time frame. I had about 10 days that over the course of 10 days we shot the scenes for that music video, and that allowed me to meet with the artist beforehand, kind of scout out the location, get the music and learn the song. By the time the shoot day, the main shoot day came up, I pretty much had the song memorized, which if you're shooting music videos, that's an important tip. Try to learn the song that you're singing, okay? It's very important to kind of get you in that headspace, as well as if you know the lyrics, if you know the structure of the song, it's gonna be a lot easier to kind of plan and shoot scenes around that. So that's my tip, my first tip. Definitely, if you can, learn the song as fast as you can. But anyway, that first shoot, it was just a really laid-back experience because I had enough time to kind of play around and kind of get the idea and the vision and kind of plan a shot list of how I wanted to shoot the video. This video, I didn't have that at all. Again, I met up with one of the artists the night before the shoot. We shot it took place primarily inside a bar, and so I had about an hour to scout the bar. And so for this shoot, I used the Lumix S5, and I shot it primarily on two lenses. I used the 20 to 60 millimeter kit lens that comes with the S5, as well as adapting a Canon FD 50mm 1.4. Once I got the lay of the land inside the club, I knew that I was going to be shooting in lower light conditions. I would be bringing lights, but it would help to have a fast aperture lens with me. The S5 is actually quite good in low light, but as you'll see later on, it did run into some trouble primarily shooting on the kit lens. So again, I just took the camera around the club and kind of got some shots. I had the talent with me, at least one of the performers, kind of had him hop into some positions so I can get some framing down, and so I would have some kind of reference and something to take home to kind of study so I could try to plan an attack for the next day. And again, for this, I do recommend bringing a zoom lens for this. Get a bunch of different focal lengths from 20 to 60 is what I had. I shot most of the video at 50mm, and once I zoomed into 50 on the kit lens, again, I wasn't trying to get the best or the cleanest shot. I'm just kind of getting frame of reference. I liked what I was seeing with the 50mm, so I knew that I was going to bring the 50mm prime the next day for the shoot because I kind of scouted out some of the shots ahead of time. Okay, so here we are, the day of the shoot. Some of the talent was late, and so I had one of the actors kind of fill in for the person I wanted to shoot the role in, and so I spent the time just kind of practicing the shots. Again, the night before, I kind of saw my plan of attack and kind of had some ideas of what I wanted to do. However, the talent themselves kind of had a broad idea of how they wanted the video to play out, and so with that, we kind of got started. The big issue was, again, the time constraint. I didn't get the full version of the song until the day of the shoot, so I didn't really have any frame of reference for what the song was going to be about. The night before in the bar, I kind of asked him, like, hey, like, what's the vibe, what's the tone of the song? And then I started to plan ideas, but again, I just didn't have that. So again, when you're shooting these music videos, try to get the song as soon as possible. Again, it helps to learn the song by the time you start shooting, or at least have a really good idea of where the song is going to go by the time you start shooting, because that's going to help you plan out the attack again. Another thing is to sit down with the artist sometime before the shoot, kind of get an idea of what their vision is going to be, because I had an idea of what I wanted to shoot, but it wasn't necessarily the same as the talent's. And the talent is going to have the final say creatively when it comes to these projects. At least in our situation, it did. It wasn't a situation where they said, hey, we're just going to pay you, just make us look good. You call all the shots. They had an idea of kind of where they wanted it to go. But again, the issue was we didn't get to sit down and talk about this. So everybody kind of had their own ideas of where they wanted the song to go, what they wanted to do at this point, at that point, whatever the case. And so the first major pitfall besides the time constraint that I fell into was there wasn't a cohesive strategy between everyone involved. Everybody kind of went into the shoot with their own kind of ideas of what they wanted to have happen, which was bad because, again, we just had the afternoon to shoot this. So once all of the talent arrived, we were able to get started. Now, in this first shot here, problem with this first shot, as you can see, that is my thumb or my index finger or something in the corner there. What happened is the step-up ring for the ND filter, I left it behind or lost it or something. As of this time, I still never found it. So I assume I lost it at some point, but I wasn't able to screw the ND filter onto the end of the kit lens. And so I kind of tried to hold it up and get the shot just so I can get my exposure right. It worked, but as you can see, that one shot kind of had my finger in the way. And so unfortunately I didn't notice it until well into the edit, and that was the problem with this time constraint. I was rushing, and so I was missing things that I otherwise never would have got caught slipping on. But unfortunately, that is kind of the nature of the beast when you are talking about these run and gun projects like that. I made several mistakes. We'll talk about more as we go on here. This next shot where I'm following Ariel walking, I was surprised and I was glad to have the S5 with me because the stabilization was actually quite good between the camera and I believe that, I can't remember their stabilization in the lens or not, but the 5-axis stabilization on the camera is top notch. And Lumix and Panasonic, they're known for the kings of stabilization, especially with their G series cameras. But like I said, this is very comparable to that. It held up nice. I got some good walking shots. Here we put it off on the tripod. We had to do this shot several times because I wanted to get the truck to pull up in the frame and have the guy catcaller, but I wasn't sure how I wanted to execute it until I did it a couple of times. I knew that I wanted her to walk in the frame and then the truck pull up behind her, but we messed up several times. It was kind of a matter of trying to get the timing right, but eventually we got a great shot. So in the scene where Ariel is talking to Lisa, we just basically used guided improv for the scene. We had an idea of what we wanted the talent to say and kind of setting up the conflict with the baby and bringing the child to work and all of that. Side note, of course, there is no baby in that basket. We covered the basket and just filled the basket with canned goods to kind of add that weight and kind of simulate that she was actually carrying a baby, but there's no baby. In fact, the person that we borrowed that car seat from had to get that car seat right away. So you'll see the baby in the beginning shots of the video, and then the baby just disappears. So that was another issue, that a mistake, again, that was brought on by time constraints. That was a huge break in continuity that some people caught, but for the most part it went over everybody's heads. And like I said, now you guys know. Continuing on, guided improv for the interaction between Ariel and Julissa, and we ran through it a couple of times until we got something that we liked, and then we went on to the next scene, and this is actually starting where the song picks up. Both women I wanted to have walking into the scene. I knew I was going to shoot that at 120 frames a second, and this is where we have some issues. I don't know, this shot is honestly a little noisy to me, and I'm not quite sure why. It was a low light scene, but I think what it was is that I was shooting at 3200. I really should have shot at 4000 because this camera has dual native ISO. The image would have cleaned up more at 4000, and because I was shooting at 3200, I got more noise than I should have gotten, even shooting at 3.5. So I shot this scene wide open, 120 frames a second. We ran through this one a couple of times too until I got the ideal shot for them walking in. But eventually we got it, and then we go on to the song. These are some of my favorite shots here with Ariel and Lisa behind the bar. I use kind of that blue flare effect. And just later, I layered that on top in post. That's actually not there. I just added that because I wanted that kind of like that sexy, kind of futuristic, but kind of like down to earth R&B tone that we got in a lot of music videos in the 90s. And so for me, that was my vision for the project. I wanted to simulate something you would see and maybe like a you know, some old school like Junior Mafia stuff, or some Faith Evans, like some old school, like I love it when they call me Big Papa, like that Big Papa. That video was a huge inspiration in my mind for kind of the vibe that I wanted to get in this video. And so I watched that a couple of times, kind of saw what I wanted to do as far as colors and tones and things like that, and played to the strengths of the bar that we were actually shooting in. And so that was kind of my vision as far as the aesthetic for the look. Okay, so now we get into a lot of the huge problems again. There was a weird thing where talent was kind of leaving and then coming back. They would leave to go get something and then come back, which was kind of eating into the time. But again, it was more, I think, an issue of just we didn't have things planned. So then they would forget something or have to go back and grab a prop. I know that was the case with the car seat, and then the person had to come get the car seat, which is why the baby totally disappeared in the video. But because of that, we lost the sun quick, and the bar was going to open up soon, and I told everybody involved that, hey, I was going to leave as soon as the bar opened up, because, you know, if it was kind of hard kind of corralling the small group of talent that we had, there was no way I was going to be able to do that with the general public coming in as well. And plus I had all my equipment and I was by myself, so there was no one to watch my equipment. So I'm like, look, man, when the public comes, I'm taking off. I'm not getting anything stolen. I'm not getting robbed because I'm caught slipping and people see me out with all this expensive equipment, all of that stuff. So anyway, the problem was I had to shoot the last 2/3 of the video and basically an hour to maybe 90 minutes tops. So that became tricky when I got into the editing room. I found that I didn't have enough footage, at least as much footage as I wanted to start the edit, which again, that's another pitfall that I fell in. So guys, when you're out there, definitely get tons and tons of footage, so you don't find yourself in that position of not having enough to go around. And so for Sip's part, I used the split screen effect with him. I used the blue flares with Ariel, and I used some different flares with Chef because I kind of wanted each artist to have a different theme with their performance. And of course, not only that, but they were shot in 3 different locations in the bar, with Sip by the pole, Ariel at the bar, and Chef at the pool table. And so that was kind of like my choice to kind of break it up and kind of kind of give it different looks, so we're not just looking at the same shot. Another issue is because of the time constraints, I did not get as much B-roll as I wanted to, so that would be my next tip. Definitely try to get as much B-roll as possible. Again, B-roll helps to fill in those different sections. You'll notice in Chef's part, I was definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel by the time I got to his part, because I ran out of footage. I actually cut some of Sip's kind of behind the scenes performance and some of Ariel's performance, just to kind of give the camera something to cut away to, so you're not just looking at Chef the whole time. Of course, with the lens I use, the 50 mil is actually quite sharp, and so that helped. I was able to punch in and pull out digitally in post too, to kind of give it different angles, to again try to spice up the video so you're not looking at just the same thing for the entire performance, and keep the video moving so it doesn't start to drag or look boring. So I wish I had more, but at the end of the day, I think it was okay. So anyway, Sip's part, we did the split screen here. the dancer, she did a really good job too. There was a problem. There was a bunch of randos. I think one of the talent brought them. There was a woman with a baby. And again, I was nervous because I'm like, can you have a baby in this bar? Like, you know, like she brought an actual baby. We used a prop baby, you know, because we didn't think we could have an actual baby in the bar. But this woman had brought an actual baby and was like, hey, you can't have the baby in here. She also got drunk and started to bother me as well as a lot of the talent during the shoot. So that is another thing, another issue I had. Try to get a guest list. You try to get an idea of who's going to come and then stick to that. Ask the talent, please ask the talent not to bring people at the last minute and things like that. That just complicates matters. Again, I had an idea of who was going to be there and what I was going to do with them once they got there. And then I had, you know, just extra people that I didn't know that wasn't part of the video. But I mean, like really like coming up to us while we were shooting again, she had gotten drunk. And so she's like kind of leaning on people and just, I don't know what it was. It was the weirdest thing ever, but that was adding to the stress level. Again, I was trying to get the video done, and so that was adding to the stress level. But all in all here, we finish up Morgan's part right as it's time to open up the bar, and so I jetted out there and hopped on the edit. Again, I'm still proud of this. I think that the image quality from the Lumix and that Canon FD lens came out really good, and that's great for me because I'm building an FD set because I don't have money for cinema lenses. So I'm building a set of vintage FD lenses to kind of fill that void, and we'll talk more about why I made that choice in another video. But anyway, this is the breakdown, guys. So let's recap those tips. Again, try to get the song as early as possible and try to learn the song by the day of the shoot. Number 2, give yourself plenty of time to scout. The more time you have to scout, the better, and that will give you a plan of attack as to how you want to shoot the video when you do go scouting. Bring a camera with a zoom lens so you don't have to worry about changing a bunch of different focal lengths. Just use the zoom lens to kind of play around to see what focal lengths you want to shoot so you can make an equipment list of what to take with you, and that'll make your job so much easier. Number 3, definitely try to meet with talent ahead of time, and you really want to meet with everybody so you guys can come up with a plan of attack, write down a shot list, kind of write out an itinerary of who's going to do what, when, what things you're going to film, what type of B-roll you're going to film, all of that. You really want to go into the shoot knowing as much as possible about what you're actually going to start filming when you get there. Because like I said, I was kind of walking around trying to see, trying to figure out, oh, what should I do here? Okay, this part is coming up. And again, everybody had their own idea of what they wanted to do, which is complicated matters. So it's definitely good to get on the same page with all of your talent before the day of the shoot. Okay guys, so I do believe that's all I got for you, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. Any of you guys had to shoot a project last minute? How did that work out for you? If you guys like this content, go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will post the full length video so you can go watch it in its entirety without interruptions. By the time you watch this video, that one should already be posted. So check that out and then come back here and then go back to that and look at it. I do believe that's all I got for you guys. I'm out. Until next time.